Good day and welcome back to another DB Legends video. And in this video I want to talk a little bit about upgrading equipment. And basically, honestly, upgrading equipment is probably the worst part of DB Legends. I was preparing my GT team, getting ready to do some My Build showcases. And I realized that although I'm ready in terms of Zenkais, I have to still finish my equipment. And of course, this is an arduous process. You have to re-upgrade slots and pretty much make RNG occur. But I have plenty of slot removers. However, both green Gogeta and yellow Goku have character-specific slot equipment. And what this means is these character equips basically for the third slot have new passives. And these passives are pretty much mandatory for a unit to have to get a huge power increase. The difference between level 2 and level 3 is massive. For example, on full power Goku, it's a completely different passive. It goes from being a 20% damage inflicted boost to being a 30% damage inflicted boost, plus adding a whole new mechanic to his character. And then on the Gogeta, it's very much the same. Adds 50% damage inflicted on top of his Dragon Ball Disruption, which basically means it adds a huge chunk of damage that Gogeta will now actually do. And while I was upgrading for these, using slot removers, I realized, of course, that it is an incredibly arduous process. Of course, there are things that can be improved. There are definitely always things that can be improved, and I don't have much of an issue with the re-upgrading slot process. But I do think they could add a tiny bit of mitigation to the slot upgrading process. As of now, there's basically two main methods of upgrading your gear. Both require slot removers. The first process to it is essentially basically randomizing that gear slot. So that's what I'm doing right now. It's the only way you can do for character-specific gear pieces, but randomizing the gear slot is the only way to obtain yellow or red slots basically out of the blue. So depending with no other factors, basically an RNG roll to see if you get a yellow one, which is like a 90% increase, or a red one, which is obviously a full passive. Now for character equips, this is the only way to do this. You cannot do a secure upgrade. So if I go to another piece of equipment, I can secure upgrade that slot. You cannot do this for the third slot on character gear, because like I said, these pieces of gear add whole new passives. They basically reconstruct the character. You cannot do a secure upgrade. So this is something that's quite important. Because of this, I believe mainly this, the whole re-upgrading and secure upgrading, I think, is a fine system. I think the percentages could be a bit more favorable, but I think it's fine. It's a way to sync character investment and time. If all equipment was basically equalized, of course, it would then just come down to who summoned the most, which is also not great. Of course, equipment can be done with chrono crystals, so it is still technically pay to win, but hey. The point is, basically, to cut a long story short, there should be, as there is a pity with summoning, there should be some kind of mitigation when it comes to the equipment. For me, if you've sunk, you can make it very high even. If I've sunk 1,000 slot removers into a piece of gear, or even 500 slot removers into a piece of gear, this should guarantee me, maybe not guaranteed, maybe at 500 you get an increased roll for a red slot, and then at 1,000 you get a guaranteed roll of a red slot. There just has to be some kind of mitigation factor. You can't tell me that it's a fun and intuitive process that is going to keep players in the game, having them throw, as of this video you can see here, 350 slot removers alongside as well several millions of Zeni and thousands of souls, trying to obtain necessary upgrades to fundamentally upgrade their character. You could even lock these to the character-specific gear if you want to. I just think it's something that is definitely required, and it's probably one of the most painful aspects, unfortunately, of DB Legends. The process of obtaining these slots is unfortunately super painful, and I think it's a hindrance to the player base. But yeah, let me know what you think. Bye.